Back again with more Donkey Kong, just because you asked nicely. So, we've got the first ice level in the game. That's a thing. It's a common trope for games of the time to have an ice level. And there's a boss later that I think he's supposed to be Bad Mr. Frosty from Clay Fighter, but they might not have been able to get the rights, so they had to change him slightly. I don't quite know the full story on that. But yeah, that's something mildly interesting. Wouldn't be too surprising if that's what their intention was, because Bad Mr. Frosty's had cameos in games other than this, like Earthworm Jim, for example. Alright, we've got ourselves a minigame. Pretty simple concept. Anyone could do that. One could say a monkey could do that. Just like this. Speaking of monkeys, there was a remake of the original Donkey Kong, the original Donkey Kong Country, I meant to say, for the Game Boy Advance, and I was actually one of the first people to get that game, because I managed to get it just like the day before it came out, because I went to Toys R Us as a wee lad, and they already had the copies they were ready to sell for the next day, and since I was already there, they sold it to me ahead of time. That was nice of them. So yeah, for a brief 6 hours or so, I was part of an exclusive club. I feel like there's an online community where that post would be, where people would be interested in that sort of thing. Or maybe not. Yeah, that pit is tricky. Anyway, I don't know if people on this particular community would appreciate this story or not. It fits the theme, but that doesn't mean that people are going to accept it. Never can quite tell. Okay, we're going to switch to Dixie. I almost forgot what the character's name was. In order to better fly over that gap. And away we go. See? That wasn't so bad. What's something else Donkey Kong related I can talk about? There's the Donkey Kong cartoon. That was a thing. I saw a video once. Since the show had so many musicals in it, somebody compiled all the musicals across the series into a single video, and it was like 2 hours long. Just think about that. There were over 2 hours worth of songs in the Donkey Kong Country cartoon, and that cartoon is just a beautiful train wreck. It's the type of thing when the people making it were trying to do a good job, but they didn't quite have the resources needed in order to make it a reality. So there's just kind of humor in how poorly made it is at times. It's very entertaining in its own right. Okay, this part's tricky. There we go. Come on. Trying to grab that floating G reminds me of just a random thought I had. Darkwing Duck, the video game for the TurboGrafx 16. There was a floating letter D from the Disney logo you could collect, and for a while people on the internet were making a big deal about it because there was an AVGN episode about this exact topic. And anyway, I did manage to get the D in the game, and it really doesn't even do anything. It's just like some useless points counter or something thereabout. Oh yeah, here's the first appearance of the elephant whose name I don't know. Gotta be careful when you're controlling him, because just like real elephants, he's afraid of mice. So if you look directly at one of the mice, you'll turn around unwillingly. So you gotta watch out for that. Why are elephants afraid of mice? I saw something in a forum post once that tried to explain it, but it was very confusing, and I think the person was just trying to make some stupid joke. They were combining the fact that elephants are afraid of mice with the fact that elephants can't jump, and then there was something in there about Walt Disney too, and it was all very confusing, and it got to the point where like Walt Disney was an elephant and therefore he couldn't jump, and what are you even saying? This has got to be equally confusing for you to listen to as it is for me to explain it. I mean, I'm confused, and I'm the one who saw the post to begin with, but I mean, I guess it's just some nonsensical message board post. Not everybody puts thoughts into those sort of things. I think we've got just... Oh, never mind. I was going to say we got just one B left, but We do not. Alright, doing good, doing good. That's just filler. So yeah, if they wanted to make this more real, they'd have to have the elephant not jump. But then, of course, this wouldn't be very entertaining to play, now would it? Not in this slightest. So what other animal buddies are in this? You know, come to think of it, I mentioned that this was the first appearance of the elephant, but I'm not actually sure if it was. It's been a while since the last episode was recorded, actually. At least a few days, so I can't recall off the top of my head if the animal actually made an appearance. Oop, got spooked by the mouse. Eek a moose. You know, there was this comic I saw on the subject of being afraid of mice. It was an old Disney comic, and Minnie Mouse was like standing up on a chair because there was a mouse in her house. She was all, "Eek, a mouse!" And somebody in the comments was saying, "This doesn't make sense. Minnie is also a mouse. Did they not think about this?" And the person was saying, "Well, how would you react if there was a 6-inch tall naked human running around your house?" Because that's the equivalent to like a Minnie Mouse seeing an actual mouse. If you hadn't made that connection already. Otherwise, that joke wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, now would it? I guess you can't carry the barrel with you. I feel like there's a suction move he can do with his trunk, but I couldn't remember it at the time, so we're just going to damage boost through the bee, like we just did. There we go. Problem solved. More than one way to skin a cat, as they say. There's probably some kind of bonus for getting that other bee down there. Let's give this another go. And yeah, slow enough that it can fall in the hole. Alright, where are we going now, boys? Find the coin. Here we go, we're finding that coin. Possibly. Oh! I mean, I did technically find it. I mean, surely that counts for something, don't you think? Okay. The red bees are invincible, by the way. This whole level's very dark visually. I mean, maybe this is supposed to be like an abandoned mill or something, so all the lights have long since died out. Or something like that. I don't think that's ever explained in the official lore. They have like a... I say Donkey Kong lore, I'm just imagining like a Donkey Kong equivalent to Hyrule Historia. That famous book that was that explained the Zelda lore, and it was quite controversial at the time. For stupid reasons, because they had the official Zelda timeline, and people didn't like that at the time because there were logical inconsistencies or some such nonsense. Their main issue was with the fact that it splits off into multiple timelines based on whether or not Link succeeds at this one point, and they were saying, well, you could apply that logic to anything. And what if Link didn't succeed at this other part in the game? Would there be a timeline here? Applying this logic, there would be thousands of timelines. I know Nintendo games better than the people who made them. Ugh. The internet gets outraged very easily. So anyway, getting back to Donkey Kong here, we're gonna try and win a few extra lives in this minigame. Gotta spend your Banjo-Kazooie tokens to do that. I assume that the tokens respawn in the levels, otherwise I don't think they'd let you just permanently run out on this minigame that only gives you a few lives. Because to think, if there was an unlimited opportunity to spend the tokens, but only a limited amount of tokens in the game, eventually you'd reach the point where there'd be no way to play these minigames anymore. They wouldn't do that. Okay, we lost the first time, but Swanky's gonna give us another go. Let's see if we can make a difference this time. Was Swanky Kong in the other ones? I don't think he was. I think he was a new character introduced just for this. Okay, I know the rules now, so this should go a little smoother, I would hope. You know, Yooka-Laylee had a minigame like this, and it was really shitty, because the enemies didn't even have any animation when you killed them, or knocked them over. That they would just disappear. I mean, that was from a professional video game development company. It's very disappointing when stuff like that happens. Ukulele was just a disappointment all around. It's not what people on Reddit will tell you, but here in the real world it was. Okay, so hopefully we'll get a few extra lives. I like Dixie, excuse me. I like Dixie's little dance that she would do there when she won the minigame. I guess we didn't get any lives back from that. So I guess this is all just one giant waste of time. But aren't all things?